I'm going to ask you a question that I've asked a lot of people, and nobody's gotten it right yet. I'm not saying that nobody knows it, but I'm saying nobody that I've asked knew it at all. So here's the question. See how you do on it. Okay, you have a billionaire, you have a millionaire, and you have somebody who makes $176,000 a year. Which of those three pays more in Social Security tax? Any guesses? Well, if you guessed they all pay exactly the same, you're right. They're the billionaires and the millionaires don't pay any more than somebody who makes $176,000 does for Social Security tax. So every single penny that's beyond $176,000 for a millionaire and a billionaire is not taxed at all for Social Security. Why don't we hear this from either Democratic or Republican politicians? Why don't they talk about that? They talk about how Social Security is becoming more unstable because they're seen as going to run out of money soon. There's a fix for it, and the fix is so incredibly easy to do. Well, the fix is incredible, but doing it would be difficult because in order to do it, beat you have to get around the rich people who own our politicians on both sides. This is not a political thing, one side against the other, but they do own Republicans, probably a little bit more than they do Democrats. But 80% of Americans never reach the tax threshold for Social Security. So they pay tax on all of their income, every bit of it. They pay it on. So when you tell them, hey, we need to lower the tax rates, and they're going, yeah, because we're paying 6% on this, and and I can barely make enough money to feed my kids. So yeah, so the fix is so incredibly easy. It could be fixed in one sentence. Would be to fix Social Security forever. You could fix it by writing a law that says remove the cap on Social Security income. So no cap. So if you make more than 100, if you make $1 million, you pay 6% Social Security on all of it. If you make a billion, you do it on all of it. And let me give you some figures. I'm going to give you some cool figures. Um, the CEO of the company that paralyzed me makes $22 million a year, and that's $60,000 a day she makes. So for her to hit $176,000, which is the cap starting in 2025, it would take her 2.91 days that she would be paying Social Security tax. The rest of the year, nothing. But she lives in London or England or somewhere, so she wouldn't have any anyway. So let's use another example. Let's talk Elon Musk. Uh, Elon Musk makes an average of $13.3 billion a year, every year. So that's $35 million a day, $24,000 per second that he makes. So his Social Security tax, he would have it for 7.1 seconds of the year would be how long he would be paying Social Security tax on 7 seconds a year. It's all Elon Musk would be paying, but that's not even all of it, because that's just his average. He made $310 billion in 2021, so he paid $10,000 in Social Security tax that year, just like me. He paid the same amount I did, in Social Security tax. But if you took his whole $30 billion and taxed it at 6%, he would have put $18 billion into Social Security. Instead, he put 10,000 bucks. So the rich are not being taxed fairly. This is not a progressive tax. It's only progressive until it hits the cap. So once it hits the cap, though, they're free. They got nothing. They're paying nothing on that. They've got it all free. That 6% that you and I pay, he doesn't pay. They don't pay. They don't have to do those things at all. And then meanwhile, they go and they say we need to cut Social Security. No, we need to privatize Social Security, is what they keep wanting to do, which would put some rich person making millions of dollars in charge of it, and then they would want to cut the profits I'm sorry, make more profits so that their stockholders would get more, their CEO would get a bigger bonus. You know, privatizing Social Security would be the worst thing you could possibly imagine doing. When FDR passed the law in 1939, creating the Social Security law, it brought so many poor people out of destitution. And it made it so that your grandparents were safe. You'd be safe when you're a grandparent. You have income. Medicare works. Social Security works. They all work, but they put all these people, lobbyists, going after our government and telling them don't raise the amount that we're. If they charge the rich people even 4% Social Security tax or even 2% Social Security tax, they could probably lower the amount that the 6% that the rest of us have to pay. So it could probably benefit everybody. And of course, they're all going to say, that's socialism. You can't do socialism. We need socialism to take care of us. Because billionaires and millionaires aren't going to do it. If you ever read The Jungle by Upton Sinclair, you'll see what happens when rich people are in charge. They don't care about people. They really don't. They only care about themselves and what comes into them. And they avoid taxes, by paying themselves with stocks and bonuses and stock options. When Mitt Romney was running for president, I think his way of fixing he kept saying he was going to cut taxes by getting rid of the tax on interest income, capital gains, and I think it has something else that was something that rich people have. People like you and me, we don't make our money from that. We make it from going to work and getting paid for it. But they own our government. They really do. And if you look, this is stuff you could easily look up. You can look this. You go to just Google. How much what is the cap on Social Security, and you'll see they get it all free. Everything above that. So, but they pay off our politicians. They just do that. And they think we should trust them, to run our government. And they go, well, we earn this money. We shouldn't have to pay anything for it. But what they keep not telling you is like when they put their factories and everything together, a lot of money from government goes into helping them, putting roads in there, getting everything in there. So they capitalize off of what happens with them. But if going back to the socialism capitalism thing, when it comes to taking care of people, I think we need to be socialist. We need to have the government do it, because the government is not going to be doing it for profit. They're going to be doing it, and they're not going to be putting the money into CEOs. They're not going to be putting it into stocks. They're not going to be doing all these other things. It's going to be something that would benefit us. Do I want to get rid of capitalism? Absolutely not. Sell your cars, sell your shirts, sell your food, sell your TV, sell your phones, still, make that capitalistic. I don't care. It should be a mix of the two. But when it comes to taking care of us, it should be pretty socialist, is what it should be. And that's why I'm scared with what's happening with the upcoming presidency that's coming in. If you looked at his previous presidency, when Trump came in, he put Betsy DeVos in charge of the Secretary of Education. She wanted to kill public schools and privatize them. How is that going to help a kid that's living in a poor area in Chicago go to school when he can't afford to buy a lunch? How can he afford to pay to a school where he has to, pay a fee to go in there? He has to pay every year to go in there. But that's who he put in charge of that. He put Ben Carson, a neurosurgeon, in charge of housing and urban development. What? What? But here and then when he put DeJoy in charge of the post office, DeJoy is still there now because they can't get him out because he cannot be taken out of there by Biden. But Trump put him in there, and his purpose was to privatize the United States Postal Service, and he's done everything he can to destroy it. By killing overtime that they work. They're trying to kill the union too because it's a big union, but he wanted to privatize it. And he destroyed the machines that would work for doing it. He did everything he could to make the post office not work well, and he's done a pretty good job at destroying it. It's still there despite him, but their goal still is to privatize it and get a CEO in there making a lot of money, a lot of stock options, and that doesn't help you and me. It does not help us. So and people just don't know this. It's like the question I asked at the very beginning. You know, do people know the millionaire, billionaire, and the person who's paying more in Social Security tax? People just don't know these things. Like some of Trump's supporters, they were uh, they were polled and asked whether they liked Obamacare, and they all hated it. And then the same people were asked if they liked the Affordable Health Care Act, and they loved it. They did not know Obamacare was the Affordable Health Care Act, but they were benefiting by it because it got them protections for, from insurance companies who turn you down for things. I mean, I'm not going to talk about what happened with that, but we all know what happened with that. It's people know that insurance companies do not treat us fairly, so that's because they are capitalists. They have CEOs making tons of money. They have stock options. They have they want to make money. They're not interested in taking care of us. Their interest is in dollars and cents. So Medicare works. You never hear anyone complain about Medicare. But what you do hear complain about are the Medicare Advantage plans that are owned by private companies. And those companies there, deny coverages and do awful, horrible things with things. So Medicare works, Obamacare works, Social Security works. What doesn't work is our government. Our government, they're not taking care of us. They need to go back to what FDR did when he set up Social Security and go, how do I fix this now? Yes, Social Security will run out of money in a number of years, but the fix is so incredibly easy. You just get rid of the cap. That's all you do. Get rid of the cap, or start the cap if you want to. Have the cap start. Have a period of time where it doesn't. Certain dollar amounts where it isn't into play. But if you get rid of the cap, Social Security is saved for me, my daughters, my granddaughters, my great-great-daughters, my great-great-great-granddaughters. It's saved for everybody. The funds will be there, but the rich have to take account, and they have to be held to account for what they're doing to destroy us and to destroy our health, and to make the only people on the planet rich who are the ones that are already rich, themselves. That's all they want. That's all they care about. They're pathetic. I there's a special place in hell for people like that. So anyway, this was kind of a different one for me, but it is relevant to me being a paraplegic because I could see my Social Security and my health benefits being destroyed, by the people that are coming in real soon, and it scares the heck out of me. So anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for letting me rant. But tell people about this. Pass the word along, and go to your congressmen, go to your senators. Tell them that the cap has to be raised. This can be fixed so easily, but they have to have the gumption to do it. They have to be, they have to realize that just because the rich are giving them a lot of money for their political campaigns doesn't mean that everything has to be done for the rich. It has to be done for Americans. For the 80% of us who don't ever hit the tax, don't ever hit the tax break-off point for having Social Security coming in free. 80% of us pay Social Security on everything that we make. That other 20%, we need some improvement. So anyway, that's all I have for today. Thank you for listening and letting me vent. I am going to remind you that okay, speaking of capitalism, my newest book, Conundrum, is out. It's a kidnapping book, not one of my humorous books. Most of my books are humorous. But go to my website, www.normcowie.com. That's COWIE, and check me out. And meanwhile, get on your politicians. Make the rich pay.